Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, we're talking about Winlator, and did you know they had a subreddit? I didn't, and well, they do, and they also have a compatibility tracker that they're working on. I'll drop a link to this in the description below, and I do recommend checking it out if you're interested in Winlator. In fact, everything I talk about, link will be in the description below right at the bottom. My news is open source, I don't hide my sources. Now, taking a quick peek at the Google Doc, and there's about 139 games currently listed. It lets you know the phones that were used, what drivers were used, and even more. And this may be some very helpful information. I mean, for example here, for Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Vegas, it says the loading time was 10 minutes, and that's using a OnePlus 7 Pro. So in terms of loading, that's quite a long time to get into the game, but at the same time, maybe it explains some people not thinking the game is compatible. Next up, this one's not really surprising if you follow the soccer scene or football scene if you're not in North America. Now, a while back, FIFA split with EA, and this made major headlines, and well, now they're partnering with Konami for an esports collaboration. So they say here that this collaboration is to continue their worldwide commitment to the advancement of esports. As part of this initiative, 2 FIFA eWorld Cup featuring eFootball are scheduled to take place later this year on mobile and console. They say here that the FIFA eWorld Cup will begin qualifying around the world on Thursday, October 10th. And it's going to contain 18 nations here. I'm noticing that Canada nor the US are listed. Now, no surprise here, the game that's being utilized for this is eFootball, which on Steam right now has a mixed review with over 80,000 reviews. This one is a free-to-play game and is playable on the Steam Deck. Now, for full transparency, I've never played eFootball. I don't even know if it works in Canada, if I can connect to the services or not. But let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below in terms of the partnership here and also in terms of the game. I mean, seeing mixed reviews on the game with over 80,000 reviews is not necessarily confidence inspiring. And speaking about countries and announcements, next up here we're talking about the Steam Deck. And if you're in Australia, you might be excited to know that the Steam Deck is finally heading to Australia in November. So just in a few weeks. I don't know if that's pre-orders and it starts shipping a few weeks after that or if shipping is going to be immediate. But this is huge news for people in Australia, provided they already haven't paid a whole bunch of money to have the Steam Deck shipped there from somewhere else. So if you are in Australia, if you have waited, let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. And if you are in Australia and haven't waited, has the extra money you've paid for shipping to have one of these over in Australia been worth it to you? And speaking about Steam, next up we're talking about Concord, and I don't think Concord's going anywhere anytime soon. I think we're going to be talking about this game here and there for a while. It turns out that Concord may be going free to play, at least that's what the latest speculation is, because the developers are still updating PC game files. For full transparency here, I can understand why Sony would want to make this game free to play. I mean, even if they continued to work on it, rebranded it, and tried to launch it again, its reputation will precede it. And I don't think it's going to sell well no matter what they do. But if they make it free to play and people become interested in the game and people like the game, maybe they'll spend money on in-game stuff and maybe make back Sony some money. But let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. If Concord went free to play, would you check it out to see what was different about the game, what was improved, what was reworked, and maybe possibly if you hadn't checked out the game before, if all the hate was justified. Next up, if you're a fan of Doom 2, you may be a fan of Doom 3. There's a brand new mod over on ModDB here. This one they say was 11 years in the making, and it's Doom 3, which is a Doom 2 mod. So according to the trailer, they've got new game modes, 20 plus hours of gameplay, 30 plus music tracks, and customizable difficulty. This mod is pretty beefy. On top of that, there's additional weapons, items, monsters, and power-ups. There is a trailer for it on YouTube, and this runs with GZ Doom, or GZ Doom if you're, I guess, not in Canada. And speaking about YouTube videos and trailers, next up here we're talking about one that caught me out of left field. And this is Star Wars Episode 1 Jedi Power Battles. And they've just announced this one is headed to PS5 and PS4, and PlayStation just dropped the trailer for it. This game is releasing on January 23rd, 2025, and they say here celebrating 25 years with all new features. It includes new and improved features that enhance the gameplay experience. For example, one of the things here is lightsaber toggle. They say they added a toggle that allows you to swap between his iconic purple saber or the classic blue saber. I think a lot of people will stick with the purple one. Anyways, here all secret characters and levels are unlocked at the beginning. They say there's gameplay improvements, enhancements, and new modes here, a classic couch co-op, and cheat codes and unlockables. Jedi Power Battles was originally released back in 2000 for the Dreamcast, PlayStation, and I think Game Boy Advance. Anyways, it's not headed just to PlayStation, it's also headed to the Switch, Xbox, and PC. And speaking about Doom, next up we're talking about Doom Eternal, and if you've got Windows on your PC and you've got Prime Gaming, Doom Eternal is now free via the Windows Store. This is for a limited time, and well, go feel free to check it out. And speaking about free, if you've got Steam here, there is a platformer called Minimalism that is now 100% free. It's normally just $1 or so, it's not very expensive, but at the same time, free is always the best price. Next up, we're talking about the Nintendo Switch Online Playtest. Now, we talked about this one in a previous video, or in yesterday's video. Anyway, signups for this playtest were on from October 10th to October 15th. And it's a pretty big window to get the signups in, but at the same time here, I guess signups filled up within like the first couple of minutes. They were flooded, and well, Nintendo has more than enough players to choose for this playtest. And there are some specifics here. Now, this isn't really an NDA, but players are not supposed to talk about this playtest and what it contains. I'm assuming we're going to see a whole lot of information flood the internet once the playtest commences. So some of the things Nintendo asks are not to talk about the program and not to share the download code. The download code is linked to an account and you cannot re-download it. So if you do share that and someone tries to download it, well, you're both kind of out of luck. And the download size is 2.2 gigs. Now, someone points out what I'm pretty sure a lot of people were thinking. Sounds a lot like the Switch Sports Resort Online beta from a few years ago. And I would tend to agree, this is going to be a secret to everybody. Next up, we're talking about the Mars FPGA. Now, Mars stands for Subscribe to Mr. Sujano, or Multi-Arcade Retro System. And it's an FPGA system that's soon to be released. Maybe, who knows here. Anyways, it's in yet another controversy, and this one just seems to be a matter of personal differences. So there's a YouTube channel called Pixel Cherry Ninja. I'm not overly familiar with the channel, but based on my understandings, they've had their differences and disagreements with Pramod. Pramod is heavily involved with the Mars FPGA. Anyways, it appears that Pramod is issuing copyright strikes against this YouTube channel. So Pixel Cherry Ninja says on Twitter here, X, please see the proof in the pics below. False copyright strike 2 from Pramod states I used a thumbnail image without consent. Please see the pic where he approved the image himself last year. So here's a screenshot of the conversation that happened back in 2023. Here's the thumbnail. I hope you like it. I can always use a different picture if you prefer. And the answer from Pramod here is, looks great to me, thanks for the interview. I would say that's permission to use it, and they were absolutely fine. And Cherry Pixel Ninja even offered to use a different picture. Now, I was pinged a whole bunch about this. I didn't really feel like talking about it, but at the same time here, when I'm pinged a whole bunch by a bunch of different members of the community, I tend to listen. Anyways, here it says, Mr. Sujano, please be mindful when covering anything Mars FPGA or the CoinOp collection. Check out Abuse of the Copyright System. The video is for an interview I conducted with a member of their team at their request a year and a half ago. I would say that interview is absolutely fine. I mean, they could politely request them take it down, and I guess if they don't want to, I don't think issuing a copyright strike is the way to go, considering they had permission. Now, I don't know Pixel Cherry Ninja, I don't know Pramod, I don't know who's in the right and the wrong in their personal disagreement that I don't think has been made public. Who knows, maybe it has. I do know that issuing a copyright strike on a channel just because you don't like them or their video is probably not the way to go, especially if you've given them explicit permission to use something. You can't really just take that back. Anyways, I'm not a lawyer and whatever here, but hopefully they can resolve it. It seems they've resolved stuff in the past. And speaking about stuff in the past, next up we're talking about Age of Empires 3. And if you're a fan of this game, it's being delisted and shut down. Now, if you've still got this game and you still play it via online multiplayer, well, you've only got until the end of the month to play it because multiplayer services are also ending this month on October 30th. Now, it's worth pointing out that this is the 2007 version of Age of Empires 3 we're talking about, not the definitive edition. The definitive edition is still alive and well and being supported for as far as I know. This one was released in 2020 as opposed to 2007 and is still free to play. If you play the old 2007 version, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you play the definitive edition, let me know your thoughts in the comments below and which version you think is better. And like a lot of trends we've seen, the older version of the game just kind of dies and the definitive edition sticks around. I mean, that's what's happened with Horizon Zero Dawn. Next up here, we're talking about Halls of Torment, and just a heads up that Halls of Torment Premium has launched on Android. There is no cross-save support, but there is controller support. Unfortunately, I haven't seen any Android reviews yet. There's currently 1,000 downloads of this game, so it's not yet that popular on Android. If you've got this one on Android, if you played it, let everyone know your thoughts about it in the comments below. And speaking about Android, last up here we're talking about Deus Ex Icarus Rising, the fall prototype. And it appears someone has ported this game over to Android. Now the fall prototype is version 0.7.0, I think, and it's about 9 or so months before the game officially released. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a bunch today. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of it in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.